In a faraway corner of the galaxy, Captain Elias Reed prepared for a journey that would change his life. The starship Aurora sailed silently through the vast darkness of space. Its crew, loyal and determined, worked together with precision and care. Captain Reed, known for his steady courage and kindness, led his team on a diplomatic mission to meet a mysterious race known as the Zevran. These aliens were famous for their advanced technology and unique culture, and many on Earth had only heard legends about them. The Aurora had traveled many light years to reach a system that shone with unusual colors. When the ship came near a gigantic star, its sensors detected a massive vessel, a Zevran starcruiser. The ship was large and graceful, with smooth surfaces and elegant designs that spoke of a proud heritage. Captain Reed felt a mix of awe and nervous excitement as he ordered the Aurora to dock with the alien vessel. Stepping onto the deck of the starcruiser, Captain Reed was greeted by a scene unlike any he had ever seen. The corridor was lined with soft, glowing lights and intricate carvings that told stories of the Zevran past. His footsteps echoed quietly as he moved forward, each sound marking his path into the unknown. Around him, members of the Zevran staff watched with keen interest. Their eyes, full of curiosity and wisdom, were fixed on the human captain who had traveled far from his home. At the heart of the ship was a grand hall where the meeting was to take place. Here, Queen Zara, the ruler of the Zevran, awaited her guest. She was a striking figure, tall and graceful, dressed in a flowing robe that shimmered like starlight. Her eyes, deep and thoughtful, studied Captain Reed as he entered the room. In that moment, the hall fell into a respectful silence as the two leaders faced each other for the first time. A translator device, a small but powerful tool, helped their voices cross the language gap. Captain Reed spoke in clear, simple words, explaining his mission of peace and friendship. He spoke of Earth's hope to learn from the Zevran and share the knowledge that had helped humanity thrive against all odds. Queen Zora listened with interest and a quiet smile. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft yet strong, carrying the weight of her responsibilities and her genuine curiosity about the human. The meeting took place under the watchful eyes of many high-ranking Zevran officials, each dressed in neat, elegant attire. Their faces were calm, and their expressions showed both caution and hope. The first exchange of words between Captain Reed and Queen Zora was simple but full of meaning. It was clear that this encounter was not just a formality, but a step toward a future where both races could learn from one another. Captain Reed noticed the care with which the Zevran arranged the room. The walls were decorated with symbols of peace and unity, and soft, ambient light bathed the space in a gentle glow. Every detail, from the smooth stone floors to the delicate patterns on the tapestries, spoke of a culture that valued beauty and balance. He realized that the Zevran were not only advanced in science, but also deeply connected to art and tradition. The Queen then invited Captain Reed to join her in a short walk through one of the ship's corridors. As they moved slowly, side by side, they discussed small details of their worlds. The conversation was easy and unforced, filled with questions about each other's lives and customs. Captain Reed learned that the Zevran had a long history of peaceful exploration and had overcome many challenges through cooperation and understanding. Queen Zara, in turn, expressed her admiration for the human spirit, resilient, inventive, and full of heart. The walk ended at a beautifully designed courtyard inside the ship. Here, plants from the Zevran gardens grew in carefully arranged patterns, their leaves shimmering under a soft, artificial sunlight. The peaceful setting helped ease any remaining tension, and for a brief moment, the differences between the human and the Zevran seemed to fade away. Captain Reed's heart swelled with hope. He realized that this meeting was not just about political dialogue, but about the merging of two very different ways of life. The simple act of sharing a conversation had already begun to build a bridge between the two worlds. As the meeting drew to a close, Queen Zara expressed her gratitude for the visit and hinted at many future possibilities for cooperation. When Captain Reed finally returned to his quarters on the Aurora, He could not help but replay every moment of the encounter in his mind. The images of the grand hall, the soft light, and the sincere expressions of Queen Zora filled him with a sense of wonder. He knew that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but he also felt confident that this unexpected meeting was the beginning of something truly special, a chance for both humans and Zevran to grow stronger together. With these hopeful thoughts, the captain drifted into a light sleep, dreaming of a future where old boundaries were broken and new friendships blossomed among the stars. The day after the first meeting, the grand hall of the Zevran starcruiser was filled with a quiet tension. Captain Elias Reed had returned to the ship after a night of many thoughts and dreams of a peaceful future. Now, the Zevran leaders and human diplomats gathered once again. The mood was calm but filled with an air of expectation. Everyone sensed that something important was about to happen. Queen Zara stood in the center of the hall, her figure calm and poised. Her eyes, always deep and thoughtful, now shone with a mix of excitement and seriousness. The room, decorated with soft lights and symbols of unity, seemed to hold its breath as the queen began to speak. Her voice, clear and gentle, carried across the room in simple, steady tones. "My dear friends," she said, pausing as she looked at the faces before her, "I have an announcement that will change the course of our future." The words echoed softly, and a murmur went through the crowd. Captain Reed, standing near the front, felt his heart beat faster. He did not know what to expect, but he knew that the Queen's words were both personal and historic. Queen Zora took a small breath and continued, "In our meeting yesterday, we shared our hopes and dreams for a better future. I believe that our meeting was not only a step toward peace, but it also brought together two very different destinies. I must tell you all that I am with child." Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. For a moment, silence reigned as everyone tried to process what they had just heard. Captain Reed's eyes widened. The idea that the Queen was pregnant was both shocking and mysterious. He remembered their brief, respectful conversation during the walk along the ship's corridors. He had sensed that there was something unusual in the way she looked at him, but he had not guessed that their meeting would lead to such an outcome. The assembled officials exchanged glances. Some faces showed surprise, while others held expressions of hope. For the Zevran, the Queen's pregnancy was seen as a sign of a new beginning, a symbol that the ties between their people and humans were growing stronger. For the humans, it was a curious and unexpected event that challenged many of their ideas about fate and biology. Queen Zara explained further in calm, plain language, "I know this news may seem sudden and hard to believe. Yet, the signs have been clear to me. I felt a change in my body and spirit, a warmth that was not like the usual. I believe that this is a rare gift from the stars, a sign that our meeting was not by chance but by destiny." Her words were simple, yet they carried a deep meaning that reached into the hearts of all present. Captain Reed felt a mix of emotions. He was honored and humbled by the thought that he might have been a part of something so important. At the same time, he felt the weight of responsibility. He had come on a mission to build trust between humans and Zevran, and now the Queen's revelation added a personal twist to his duty. He looked at her, seeking more clarity in her eyes. One of the Zevran elders, a wise figure known for his careful thought, stepped forward. He said in a soft voice, "Queen Zara, this news brings joy to our people. It is a sign that the bonds between us are growing stronger. We see in this event not just the hope of a new life, but the hope of a united future." His words were met with nods and soft smiles from others in the room. Another human diplomat, standing beside Captain Reed, whispered, "This is truly unexpected. It will change everything we thought we knew about our meeting." The simple conversation between the two diplomats captured the general feeling in the room, a mix of astonishment and cautious optimism. Queen Zora continued, "I ask that you all join me in welcoming this new life, a life that carries with it the dreams of two peoples. We must not be afraid of the unknown. Instead, we must see it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to build a future where differences are celebrated." Her words resonated deeply with both the Zevran and the humans. The Queen's announcement was more than just a personal declaration. It was a turning point in the history of both species. The revelation sparked new discussions among the leaders, who began to consider ways to further unite their peoples. Ideas were shared about joint projects, cultural exchanges, and even new scientific studies that could help explain the rare event. Everyone present felt that the Queen's words were a call for a future built on trust and cooperation. As the meeting came to an end, Captain Reed stayed back for a few moments. He looked around at the room filled with hope and the quiet determination of the Zevran people. Though he had many questions, one thing was clear: the future was about to change, and he felt both a personal connection and a strong sense of duty to be part of it. In that quiet moment, with the soft glow of the hall around him, Captain Reed promised himself that he would do everything in his power to help bring about this new era. The Queen's revelation was not just a surprise. It was the start of a new chapter for both humans and Zevran, a chapter where unity and the strength of two worlds might shine together as one. After the Queen's announcement, the halls of the Zevran starcruiser filled with a mix of excited whispers and cautious frowns. News of Queen Zara's condition had spread quickly among both the Zevran leaders and the human delegation. In many hearts, there was hope for a new beginning, but there were also deep concerns about the future. The Queen's news had become a symbol of change, a sign that the old ways might be replaced by a future built on mutual trust and respect. Inside a large round council room designed to encourage calm and open dialogue, Zevran elders and human diplomats gathered to discuss the unexpected news. The room, softly lit with warm colors and decorated with symbols of unity, was meant to soothe tempers. Yet, as voices began to rise, it was clear that many were troubled by the implications of the Queen's revelation. On one side of the room, a group of Zevran traditionalists, led by the stern and passionate Elder Tyros, voiced their worries. "Our traditions have guided us for many generations," Tyros said in a firm but respectful tone. "The idea of mixing our royal line with human blood is unsettling. We must not forget our roots or risk losing what makes us strong." His words echoed the concerns of many who believed that preserving the purity of their heritage was essential to their identity. They feared that embracing this change could weaken the bonds that held their society together. In contrast, another elder named Soren spoke with gentle determination. "We are living in changing times," Soren said, his voice calm and measured. "Queen Zara's condition is not a threat. It is a gift. It shows that the universe has a plan for us, a plan where our differences may help us grow stronger together. We must see this as an opportunity for progress rather than a danger to our traditions." Soren's words resonated with those who had long hoped for a future of openness and cooperation between different peoples. At the same time, human diplomats engaged in their own discussions. Captain Elias Reed's colleagues from Earth were divided by the news. Some believed that the Queen's condition was an extraordinary chance to build a bridge between two very different worlds. They argued that if humans and Zevran could unite in this special way, it would pave the way for a lasting peace and the sharing of knowledge and technology. Others on the human side felt a deep unease. They questioned whether the event was truly natural or if unseen forces had influenced it. Their worry grew from the fear that such an unprecedented event might cause social unrest back on Earth, where old prejudices and insecurities still lingered. As the hours passed, the council room became a place where every word mattered. In a calm yet clear voice, a Zevran diplomat named Lyran addressed both groups. "Let us not allow our fears to prevent us from exploring this new path," Lyran said. "Today, we stand at a crossroads. This event could either divide us further or help us to learn from one another. The future of our people may depend on our ability to listen and work together." His plea for unity brought a brief silence to the room, as many took a moment to reflect on his simple but heartfelt message. Korn explained that the celestial convergence had been recorded in both Zevran and human legends. He noted that many stories told of a time when the paths of different worlds crossed, and that such an event was seen as a blessing. Dr. Maris listened intently, her eyes lighting up with curiosity. She believed that the convergence might be the reason why the queen had found herself with a child from an unexpected union. It was a rare gift from the stars, one that could change the fate of both their peoples. With renewed energy, the team delved deeper into the archives. They explored narrow corridors and hidden chambers within the Starcruiser, where ancient records were stored. In these quiet spaces, the hum of old machinery mixed with the soft whispers of history. Every document and artifact they uncovered added a small piece to the larger puzzle. One of the most intriguing finds was a small medallion, delicately carved with the symbol of the celestial convergence. Dr. Maris carefully cleaned the medallion and studied its intricate design. The carvings told a simple story, a story of two worlds coming together under a sky filled with stars. It was a clear sign that nature had its own plans, often beyond what human science could fully explain. Holding the medallion, Captain Reed felt a strong connection to the past. He realized that this quest was not only about science or logic, it was a journey of the heart. The medallion symbolized the hope that even in the midst of uncertainty, there could be a greater purpose behind unusual events. With each new discovery, he became more convinced that Queen Zara's condition was part of a larger cosmic plan meant to unite different worlds. The trio spent many days gathering clues and recording their findings. They wrote down every detail in simple language so that everyone, regardless of their background, could understand the importance of their work. Their notes described the signs of the celestial convergence and explained how the stars had long been seen as guides for those willing to embrace change. The team hoped that by sharing this knowledge, they could calm the fears that had grown among both the Zevran and human people. Throughout their journey in the archives, the team encountered stories that spoke of fate and destiny. They learned that many cultures believed that events like this were not random but planned by the universe. The texts showed that when different peoples came together in times of change, they could overcome old barriers and build a brighter future. The ancient records, written in simple and clear words, confirmed that the union between different worlds was seen as a blessing rather than a threat. By the end of their research, Captain Reed, Dr. Maris, and Corin had gathered enough evidence to suggest that the Queen's condition was indeed part of a rare cosmic event. Their discoveries pointed to a time when the stars aligned to bring hope and change. The texts from the Zevran archives, combined with human legends, told a story of destiny that was both old and new, a tale of unity, hope, and the power of change. With the medallion in hand and their hearts filled with determination, the team prepared to share their findings with the leaders of both species. They believed that understanding the celestial convergence would help ease the fears that had taken root after the Queen's announcement. It was a chance to show that change could be a positive force, a bridge between cultures that could lead to lasting peace. As Captain Reed looked at his companions, he felt a sense of calm determination. Their quest for answers had not only brought them closer to the truth, but had also deepened the bond between them. In that quiet moment, he knew that the journey ahead was still filled with challenges. Yet, with the wisdom of the past lighting their way, they were ready to face whatever the future might bring. Captain Elias Reed stood at the entrance of an ancient Zevran ruin, deep within the floating gardens of their capital world, Silora. It had taken weeks of study and persuasion to gain access to this place, a forgotten temple hidden beneath layers of history. He, Dr. Lyanna Maris, and the Zevran scholar Corin had convinced Queen Zara that the final answers to their questions might be found here. The Queen herself, now more aware of the importance of their discovery, had granted them permission to enter. The temple was unlike anything Captain Reed had ever seen. The stone walls, covered in glowing blue symbols, pulsed softly as if responding to their presence. The air was thick with mystery, the weight of forgotten knowledge pressing against them. This was a place of wisdom, built by Zevran ancestors who had sought answers to the universe's deepest questions. As they moved carefully through the corridors, their footsteps echoed, making the place feel even more ancient. Corin traced his fingers over the carvings on the walls, whispering translations as he read. "This speaks of the celestial convergence," he murmured. "It tells of a time when different races would find harmony through the joining of their blood." His voice held both wonder and disbelief. Dr. Maris, always the scientist, carefully studied the old markings. "The Zevran have known about this event for centuries," she said, her mind racing with possibilities. This wasn't just a legend. It was a real, recorded event. She turned to Captain Reed, her eyes wide with realization. If what these carvings say is true, this has happened before. The captain took a deep breath, feeling the truth settle into his bones. He had been skeptical at first, but now he could not deny that something greater was at work here. If the Zevran knew about this, he said, why was it forgotten? Why did no one speak of it before? Corin sighed, his eyes filled with sorrow. "Many things are lost to time," he admitted. "Some knowledge is hidden, either out of fear or because it challenges the way people see the world. Perhaps this truth was inconvenient for those who wished to keep our species separate." They continued deeper into the temple until they reached a grand chamber. At the center stood a pedestal, upon which lay a large metallic tablet. The surface shimmered, reacting to their presence. As Corin and Dr. Maris translated its text, a clear message emerged. "When the stars align and the convergence is complete, a new path shall be revealed. The union of different bloodlines shall bring strength beyond measure, a bridge between two worlds, a new dawn for all." The word sent a shiver through Captain Reed. It was undeniable now. The Queen's pregnancy was not just a random event. It was a sign, a fulfillment of something that had been foreseen long ago. Dr. Maris pointed to another section of the text. "It also says that those who embrace this change will find prosperity, but those who resist it will bring destruction upon themselves." Silence filled the room as the weight of the words settled over them. If this knowledge was ignored, if the wrong people twisted its meaning, it could lead to conflict instead of unity. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the temple. Dust rained down from the ceiling as the ground trembled. Captain Reed instinctively reached for his communicator. "Reed to Aurora. We have some seismic activity down here." "What's going on?" A static-filled response came through. "Captain, there's interference. Readings show something. Unstable." Before they could react, the walls of the chamber began to shift. Hidden machinery, untouched for centuries, roared to life. A holographic figure appeared in the center of the room. A tall, robed Zevran elder, his expression calm but serious. Though clearly a projection from the past, his voice resonated as if he were speaking directly to them. "To those who seek the truth, know this: change is inevitable. The convergence was meant to happen. It is not a mistake, nor an accident. It is the will of the cosmos. Fear it not, for it brings a future where unity shall bring strength." The hologram faded, leaving the three of them standing in silence. Captain Reed looked at his companions. "This is it," he said. "This is the proof we need." Corin nodded. "We must take this knowledge back to Queen Zara. She must see that her condition is not a threat, but a gift." Dr. Maris quickly took digital scans of the inscriptions, ensuring that the information would not be lost. "This changes everything," she whispered. The three of them hurried out of the temple as the tremors subsided. The ancient mechanisms that had awakened now grew silent once more, as if satisfied that their message had been delivered. As they stepped back into the light of Solora's twin suns, Captain Reed felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had found the truth, not in politics, not in scientific theories, but in the very history of the Zevran people. Now, the challenge would be convincing others to accept it. The real battle had only just begun. Captain Elias Reed, Dr. Lyanna Maris, and Corin returned quickly to the Zevran royal palace. Their discovery at the ancient ruins had filled them with determination, but they knew convincing others would not be easy. As they entered the Grand Council chamber, they found Queen Zara seated upon her throne, surrounded by elders and diplomats. Her calm and thoughtful eyes met Captain Reed's gaze, silently questioning him about their findings. Corin stepped forward first. He bowed respectfully before the queen, then spoke clearly so all could hear. "Your Majesty, we found proof in the ancient temple. The legends about the celestial convergence are true. Your condition is not random. It was foretold as a blessing, a sign from the stars." Dr. Maris quickly presented her digital scans to the council. Images of glowing inscriptions appeared, clearly illustrating the prophecy. "This is real evidence," she explained simply. "The Zevran and human connection is natural, meant to unite two worlds in harmony." The council murmured in surprise. Queen Zara studied the holograms carefully, her eyes filled with wonder. "This is remarkable," she finally said, her voice calm but filled with emotion. "We now have undeniable proof that this event was destined. It is our duty to embrace it." However, not everyone in the room was pleased. Elder Tyros, standing to the side with a stern expression, raised his voice sharply. "We must be cautious," he warned. "How can we trust ancient stories? Mixing our royal bloodline with another species could put our entire society at risk." Before anyone could respond, a messenger entered quickly, whispering something urgent into the queen's ear. Zara's expression shifted, her eyes becoming worried. She stood immediately. "Captain Reed, Corin, Dr. Maris, please come with me," she said calmly, though urgency was clear in her voice. The queen led them into a private chamber. She spoke quietly, her voice filled with concern. "I've just received troubling information. A group within my court strongly opposes the idea of unity between humans and Zevran. They plan to use this situation to create chaos and fear among our people." Captain Reed felt his heart sink. "Do you know who they are, Your Majesty?" Queen Zara nodded slowly. "Tyros and several traditionalist elders have secretly spread misinformation. They're telling people this event is dangerous, that humans want to weaken our species. They aim to frighten our people into rejecting any alliance." Corin looked deeply troubled. "If they succeed, all the work we've done to unite our worlds will fail. Fear can tear us apart faster than any enemy." Dr. Maris stepped forward confidently. "Then we must expose their plans quickly. Your people deserve the truth. If we share what we discovered openly, we can counter their lies." The queen considered this carefully. "I believe you are right, but we must act carefully. Tyros and his group hold powerful positions. We cannot risk making them into martyrs. We must reveal their deceit without dividing our society further." Captain Reed agreed immediately. "Perhaps if we present the facts in a simple, clear way, everyone can understand. Once your people see that these elders are spreading lies, their power will fade." Queen Zara gently placed her hand over her stomach, her eyes determined. "For the sake of our shared future, we must try. Let us gather the people and present the truth openly. Trust must defeat fear." Within hours, preparations were underway for a large public gathering in the central plaza. Citizens from all parts of the capital city gathered, curious and anxious to hear directly from their queen. Elder Tyros and his allies were also there, confident that their influence would soon sway public opinion in their favor. Captain Reed, Dr. Maris, and Corin stood beside Queen Zara on a raised platform, overlooking the crowd. Zara spoke first, her voice strong and calm, carrying clearly to every listener. "My people, today we face an important choice. You have heard rumors meant to divide us, but I stand before you with truth and proof." As she spoke, Dr. Maris activated the holographic images from the ancient temple. Clear visuals filled the air, illustrating the prophecy of unity between humans and Zevran. Corin carefully explained the meaning behind each image in simple language, making sure everyone could understand. Captain Reed then stepped forward, speaking with heartfelt sincerity. "Our two peoples share a common destiny. Queen Zara's condition is not a threat. It is hope. Our unity makes us stronger, not weaker. Don't allow fear and suspicion to rob us of a brighter future." Suddenly, Elder Tyros shouted angrily from the crowd, trying to turn opinion against them. "These humans speak lies. They wish to deceive us. But Zara raised her hand calmly, silencing him instantly. Tyros, you have chosen fear over truth. I can no longer let you spread division among our people. The evidence before us today cannot be ignored. The room fell into a thoughtful silence. The weight of his words hung in the air. Slowly, Admiral Holt nodded. Then let us not waste this opportunity. The Human Alliance is willing to open formal discussions about deeper cooperation with the Zevran Empire. The Queen inclined her head. Then today will be remembered as the beginning of something greater than all of us. The meeting continued for hours, discussing trade, cultural exchange, and scientific cooperation. The foundations of a new alliance were being laid, one built not on war or conquest, but on mutual understanding. That night, standing on the balcony of the royal palace, Captain Reed gazed up at the stars. Queen Zora joined him, her presence quiet yet strong. Our people have taken their first step together, she said. Reed nodded. And this is only the beginning. Zora placed a hand over her stomach. I wonder what kind of world this child will be born into. Reed smiled. A world where humans and Zevrans stand together. A world where the impossible becomes reality. As the stars shimmered above them,